Here comes example 2. We're still writing a linear equation into standard form. If the equation has an x or y term by itself, move the other variable to join it. Make sure the x term is first and the y term is second. You may have to move more than one term using addition or subtraction. So, in the example, I've given 4x equals negative 7y plus 1. Remember before I said something has to go in front of x, something has to go in front of y, and a number without the x or y has to go on the other side of the equation. The other side of the equal sign, that is. So, given my example, I had to move my negative 7y. By adding 7y to both sides, I could move my negative 7y from the right side of the equation to the left side of the equation. Notice the negative 7 and positive 7 cancel each other out. That's just the example. Let's see how we can solve questions 5 through 6 and go on further to questions 7 through 8, where they get a little bit trickier. Question 5, again, we want something in front of x, something in front of y, and whatever doesn't go with x or y to go on that last line, just like I brought down this minus 4. I treat it as a negative 4 because the minus sign was in front of it. Well, there's my x on the wrong side. How do I get rid of a negative 11x? I add x, 11x that is, to both sides, plus 11x. So I drop down that 11. That's my coefficient in front of my variable. The negative 11 and positive 11 cancel each other out. Well, where's my y? There's my y. No number in front of it. Remember, it's understood to be a 1. If I simplify, it's 11x plus y equals negative 4. That's the simplest form, or my most simplified version. Number 6 kind of works the same way. I've got just one term on the left side of that equation. In question 5 I had a y, but in question 6 I have an x. Now what do you think I have to do? This is where you should now try yourself. Don't forget to ask yourself those important questions. Which term do I move? Which one do I move? Which one do I keep? Which one can stay? Which one has to go? I've got 5x on the left side. I've got 2y plus 9 on the other side. But I need something x plus something y to equal something else. Notice my x and y are together, but not in my original question. X is there on the left side, so I can put the 5 in front of x. But my y is on the right side, and I need it to move to the left side. I've got to use the inverse, a negative 2y, or a minus 2y. I drop down the coefficient, negative 2. Only thing left is my positive 9, so I put a positive 9 on the right side. Simplify it. You betcha, 5x plus, oh wait a minute, 2 signs together, a positive and a negative combine to make a negative, so I can rewrite it 5x minus 2y equals 9. I did say that questions 7 and 8 may be a little more challenging because it's not just one term on the left side. I've got 2 terms, but guess what those 2 terms don't have? They don't have variables. One of them does and one of them doesn't. So how many terms do I really have to move? In other words, How many terms are in the wrong place? I've got 6y minus 1 equals 3x. Is my x in the right place? Is my y in the right place? Well, let's start again. Think of what my goal is, to get the x and y together. If I'm going to do that, then I have to take my 3x to the left side and that positive 1 to the right side. There's my x. It's on the right. I've got to move it to the left. Opposite of positive 3x is negative 3x. So I drop down the coefficient of negative 3. There's my y. It's staying on that side, the left side, so I can drop down the 6 right away. But my negative 1, it's got to go. To the other side, that is. To the right side of the equation. So I'll have to add 1. Adding 1 to the other side makes it a positive 1. Negative 3x plus 6y equals 1 is my final answer. I've now taken my linear equation and put it into standard form. Did I have to use those steps to get my linear equation into standard form? Or can I solve, or in other words, rearrange the same equation, those variables, differently? Can I rearrange them differently? Maybe you were thinking I should have done something different. Maybe you were thinking, well, I have x on one side and a y on the other side. Why don't I just move the letter to the other letter? Well, let's see if I do that. I'd have to subtract 1x from both sides. So now my number, 7, without any variable, remains. And I've got negative 1x and plus 8y, because that 8y drops down after the x. But if standard equation and standard form needs the x and y on the left side, can't I just switch them around? It's kind of like trading places. Can't I just reverse the order? Can't I just take everything from the left, move it to the right, and everything from the right and move it to the left? I bet you that's what you were thinking, weren't you? But you weren't sure if it worked? Well, of course it did. Look, my negative 1x plus 8y equals 7. In its simplified version, I would just write negative x plus 8y equals 7. It may look like a lot less steps, but it achieved the same goal. So you can move a number in a letter, or you can move just the letter and reverse the sides by switching them, kind of like trading places.